What's going on, Dolphins fans? It is your boy Dillon, and I got a couple things I want to talk about today. Couple moves the Dolphins made, and some more rumory type stuff. So first, let's get to the moves. The first one is the Dolphins have re-signed cornerback Nick Needham, which overall is a solid signing. It adds consistency. They're keeping a player that's been around for a minute. He's a decent player. He's solid. He's got his ups and downs, though. To me, he's just kind of an average player overall. That's the best that this regime has really been able to find when it comes to player evaluation, right? So it's not really a surprise that's, anyway, you get the point, right? So, good signing, though, overall. I do think that is, it is important to have somebody who's been around, who already kind of knows the system, the coaches, who can be a bit of a leader, who's got some experience, those types of things. But again, he does come with his downsides. He does get beat from time to time. He has, regular penalties. And so he definitely needs to improve, but it is good that they keep him around. The other signing is they have signed an offensive lineman, DJ Fluker, who is 30 years old, and he's expected to compete at guard and or tackle. On the one hand, good that they brought in somebody for the offensive line and, a veteran who has experience and so on and so forth, etc. I think I saw a thing where he is the second oldest player on the team now. Obviously a super young roster. So the experience is good, but I don't like it overall because of the additional things that come with it. So, I don't like, obviously he's 30, he's towards the back end of his career. He only played in 8 games last year, I think it was, for the Ravens. He's past his prime, right? Like he's towards the end. You don't know how injuries are going to play into it. Is he even going to be, a useful body on the team? How much of an impact is he going to have? But the more important thing is this very much lessens the likelihood that they are going to draft one of the top offensive linemen in the draft. And that's problematic because I know everybody wants them to all pretty much the entirety of the Dolphins fan base wants them to take either Kyle Pitts, the tight end, or one of the top wide receivers, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Waddle, whatever, right? And okay, it's a mistake that they have made time and time and time again, right? Do some piddling little bullshit fucking moves like sign an old, DJ Fluker to the offensive line and think that that's going to be the fucking, the fix, and then they can go and draft one of the superstar fucking skill position guys, and it's going to be fucking magic from there. Even though we've seen it time and time again, that doesn't happen because then your offensive line isn't adequate enough to protect your quarterback, provide running lanes, etc., etc., etc. I've said these things a million times. Nobody ever listens, whatever. So, overall, I don't like it because then it just adds to the fact or to the probability that they're not going to actually address the most important needs, and they will instead take somebody like Kyle Pitts or any of those wide receivers. The wide receiver room right now, it's true that they have to make some improvements. They very much need to get better. However, you don't need to draft a first-round wide receiver to do that. There is a ton of guys in that room, and they have Devontae Parker, they have Preston Williams, they have Allen Hurns, Jakeem Grant, and Albert Wilson, among other guys, right? They have a ton of fucking players in that room, bro. And especially if you have confidence in your own player evaluation and development of players. So what? You don't think that any of those guys are worth it? You don't think you have an adequate enough fucking wide receiver core? You don't think that you're good enough to develop those players? And the team will fare a lot better if you have a better offensive line that is capable of at least creating some holes, giving your quarterback some time in the pocket and having, an average or slightly above average wide receiver core, as opposed to having a shit offensive line and a super studly wide receiver core or a super stud at fucking tight end. When you already have at least 3 or 4 other guys on the roster at that position, tight end, that are more than adequate. Gesicki is a really good tight end. Adam Shaheen and Durham Smythe are great in their roles. Like, you don't need those guys. It's not necessary. But they will likely now, to be honest, I don't expect them, even before this move, I didn't expect them to, because they've been proving that all they're trying to do is find some patches for the offensive line. Okay, it's like I was on a submarine, okay? I spent 4 years in the Navy, and I was on a submarine. I was a submariner. But even if you're not, a Navy, in the Navy or a sailor or any of that stuff, like, I'm sure you've heard, or seen movies and heard, people say things like, well, you got a fucking leak in the boat, right? And it's a giant fucking hole, and you're just trying to patch it with, like, a Band-Aid, right? Like a Band-Aid type of fix, but you're just trying to put like a fucking board over it and think that it's going to be all fucking good. That's not how it fucking works. So I'd rather have, an average offensive line and an average to above average offensive line and wide receiver room than have a shit offensive line and a super studly wide receiver room. You got to have the proper balance, otherwise it's not going to work out right. But anyway, that actually moves on to the next thing, though. So a couple signings, and then now the rumory stuff. Miami getting calls for the 6th overall pick. Dolphins rumors, Miami considering trading number 6 draft pick amid interest. The Miami Dolphins may not be done making moves leading up to the 2021 NFL Draft. According to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, the AFC East team has received calls from teams looking to trade up to number 6, and it is something they're considering. Miami has already been quite busy leading up to the draft. They landed the number 12 pick along with first and third round picks in 2022 and a first round pick in 2023 from San Francisco 49ers in exchange for the number 3 overall pick in this year's draft, and then traded the number 12 pick acquired from the 49ers, a 2021 fourth rounder and a 2022 first round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles, for the number 6 pick and a 5th rounder in this year's draft. The Dolphins are in something of a unique position selecting so early this year because they don't necessarily need a quarterback in a draft that could have 5 taken in the early going. They selected Tua last year at number 5 overall and went 10-6 during his rookie season. Continuing to make trades would allow Miami to build more draft capital as it looks to build a consistent winner around Tua. Okay, great. Wonderful. First of all, my normal draft philosophy, I would never trade up. I don't chase players. And if I'm going to trade, I'm going to trade back and accumulate more capital. That's it, period. I never, just like I would never, ever take a quarterback in rounds 1 or 2, and would take one every single year in 3 or later, I would never, ever, I don't care. I literally don't care. I don't care what people say about a certain prospect. I don't care about how much fucking pressure they put on. I wouldn't do it, okay? I would only ever trade back. Now, having said that, that's my philosophy. When they traded back with the 49ers, I gave them a ton of credit and was like, boom, that is a fucking haul. Way to go. Good stuff. They immediately walked it back, gave away a bunch of that capital to move back up to the 6th. Now, at this particular point in time, okay, I'm always open to trading back and accruing more draft capital. The only issue I have with that at this particular point in time, in this scenario, with this context, is you already did that. You traded to the 12th. If you're going to just trade back and then, pick up the things that you traded away, essentially, pick up the things that you traded away to the Eagles when you moved back up, why the fuck not just stay at 12 then? Why the fuck not just stay at 12? What was the fucking point? The point is because they wanted to position themselves to either take a certain player, which I would never do, or to try and fucking pull the wool over somebody's eyes but they're stupid. And they have never proven to actually be able to do that. right? People will write articles, beat writers and reporters will talk about how the Dolphins won trades with this other team, but in the past 2 years they haven't won a single fucking trade yet. Not one trade that the Dolphins have made in the past 2 years has netted any real fucking gains. Not one. I would challenge anybody to name one fucking trade that has legitimately fucking got gains for them. Now, to clarify a little bit on that, what I mean is gains towards their ultimate goal. So that means gains towards sustainable, reliable winning. Okay? Now, you can't, first of all, a lot of the picks that they've used, are inconclusive at best, if not underwhelming, etc. And, look, I mean, anyway, I'm trying not to go off on too many tangents and then I get myself caught up. Not a single fucking trade that they have done. Either they've picked bad players, not good players, they're terrible at their evaluation, or they could just continue to trade them away and fucking fuck off with their fucking draft capital. And none of the players on the roster now, today, not a single player today, whether it be draft picks that they've picked, whether it be players that they've traded for, it doesn't matter. Not a single player you can say is going to be here for the long term. You're not going to be able to build long-term sustainability and success without having chemistry, cohesion, and consistency across your team. They have not had that once in the first 3 years so far. We are just getting into year 3, but they haven't had it yet. This is the third straight year with new fucking coaches almost across the board, or at least half of it. The roster is very dramatically different. Right? Okay, so that's my issue with trading back. It's just, you already did it. Why the fuck would you do it again when you were already there? Right? You're just playing these fucking stupid games that are not going to do anything for you. The other thing is they could trade up or they could stay pat. At this point, I would have them sit there at number 6, especially if they expect 3 or 4 fucking quarterbacks to go off in the top 5. Okay, they could sit at number 6 and pick up Penei Sewell. That's what I would do. God forbid if he's not there, then I would do my due diligence first on the offensive lineman. If there was another offensive lineman after Penei Sewell that I think would be worth being taken at 6, I would take that offensive lineman above one of those skill position players. Having said that, they are pretty terrible with their evaluations, so I don't really trust them. But also, I mean, if there isn't, then, I would maybe move to a different position. However, I would then go to edge rusher before I went to fucking wide receiver or tight end. I don't care how good Kyle Pitts was in college. I don't care how good Devontae Smith or fucking Waddle or any of these wide receivers were in college. It's not a guarantee. It's never a guarantee. And I fucking hate when people are like, oh my God, he's going to be a stud in the fucking NFL. Bro, all we got to do is go get this guy and he's going to fucking completely change our entire team. Fuck off. That happens super rarely. Because it just doesn't work that way. That's just not reality. So I hate when people do that. I hate when people are like, dude, he's a sure thing in the NFL. He's gonna transition super smoothly. It's fine if you think he's gonna do that, but to say that it's gonna happen definitively and then stake everything on that fucking player and go chase him or whatever, or do some dumb shit to go get him or pick him, even though it's not a need or a necessity on your team and you have glaring holes elsewhere, well, I just don't agree with that philosophy. So I wouldn't trade up. I wouldn't trade down. At this point, I would stay at 6. I mean, unless, right? So clarify a little bit on the trade down. Because I am always open to trading back and accruing more draft capital, even though I think it's a little stupid that they had already done that, moved to 12 and then moved back up senselessly. But I would do it. I would do trade downs. If I thought I could pick up more, good draft capital, because 6 is still a relatively prime position. It's in the top 10, right, just outside of the top 5, but still a really good spot. You could pick up some good draft capital, and and then, still get a really good player. So I would consider that. To be clear, so I would stay put and pick up Penei Sewell, or I would move down. But again, it's a minor thing. The fact that they were already there, so why not just stay? But I just don't trust them to make the right moves, because they have historically, first of all, Stephen Ross, as the majority owner, has overwhelmingly proven that he does not know what the fuck he's doing. But additionally, over the past 2 years, Brian Flores and Chris Greer have made atrocious, terrible decisions. Almost none of their decisions have worked out. I know people think that they made so much progress last year, but it's just not true. It's false. The 10-6 record that they had was not a reflection of who the team actually is. And there's a ton of data and evidence to show that and to prove that, right? There's additional context that lends to that end, right? But people like to ignore that because they like to live in their own little fantasy bubbles and just think, oh man, they're going to be great this year and we're going to the Super Bowl. Woo! Okay. All right. I mean, if you guys think that, cool. Look, and I've said it a million times. I hope that they prove me wrong, etc., etc. I want them to go to the Super Bowl. And if they do it, no matter what, there's no denying it, right? At least from me, because I'm a person who lives in the reality that exists, the only reality that exists. So if it happens, I'm going to give them credit. But I'm also going to fucking give a very, nuanced explanation of how they got there, right? And so, and I'm going to mention their shortcomings. All right, I'm not going to just ignore the fact that Tua was not fucking great last year, or that he threw over 10 interceptions. The dude just got stupid lucky because defenders couldn't fucking squeeze the ball, or stepped out of bounds, or got called back by a penalty, right? So I'm not going to ignore the fact that the Dolphins exceeded expectations and played above their talent level, etc., talent, skill, experience level, because of things like COVID and the injuries that were rampant last year. I'm not going to ignore super relevant factors to the result of to how the result came to be, right? So if they make it to the Super Bowl, I'm going to be super excited about it. I'm going to have a good time with it. I'm going to watch my team play in the Super Bowl and hope that they fucking win and cheer and do a live stream and all that good shit. But I'm also going to give you a very super real fucking breakdown of how they played, how they got there, and all of that shit. And I'm not going to sugarcoat a goddamn thing. Yeah, so, because that's fucking reality. That's fucking reality. Anyway, so, that's all I got. There was the two moves, the two signings that they did, and this little bit of talk about are they still done fucking making trades? I think they just need to stay fucking, ultimately I think right now they just need to stay put and motherfucking draft Penei Sewell. But of course they think that they're fucking brilliant, so they'll make some fucking stupid move. I don't doubt. Continue to make stupid moves, but either way, I mean, if they're not gonna fucking focus on the offensive line, which is clearly, if they want their offense to improve, they have to fucking do something about that offensive line. And it is clear that, I mean, look, dude, we're 8 days from the draft. We're a week away from the draft. There is a second round of free agency afterwards, but they're proving that, yeah, it's not that important. We're going to make these little fucking moves or whatever. We're going to put these Band-Aids over a gushing wound, and we're just going to fucking roll with it, and it's going to be cool. Why? Because, oh man, we just got to go get that superstar fucking tight end or blah, 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 whatever. If they take a tight end or a wide receiver with that 6th overall pick, should they stay there? Or if they move, or even more so, if they move up a spot or two to 4 or 5 to pick Kyle Pitts or one of those wide receivers, it's stupid. It's stupid. It's unnecessary. It's redundant because they have a ton of guys in those positions, and it's going to be a big mistake because then they are not going to put the proper resources in the proper place. So it's not just that Stephen Ross thinks, I'm just going to throw money and draft picks at the problem, but he does it blindly. The motherfucker just goes in there and just fucking woo, fucking makes it rain without actually really fucking caring to logically place those resources and allocate those resources in places where it makes sense, where it's going to be efficient, where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. Instead, they just chase shiny fucking toys and you know, new things to play with, and superstars that are projected to be superstars, that were superstars in college, projected to be superstars in the fucking NFL. And, well, you know, I don't know, people think it's somehow gonna magically be a winning strategy when it is never proven to be. Okay, sure, whatever, we'll see how it turns out. Alright, with that, I'm out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. Of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Phins up.